Hey everybody, as you can tell, today is going to be a whiteboard session. And what prompted me to make this video was the other day I was online, cnbc.com, and I was watching one of their videos that I believe was brought to you by Acorn. And I have nothing against CNBC or Acorn. In fact, I'm really excited about the kind of education that they're bringing to people. I'm going to put the link to that video in our video here so you can check it out. But what I wanted to go over today was the premise of that video was basically how to get $50,000 a year in income once you're in retirement. And that sounds great. We're probably all excited about that. But what bothered me was the one way that they talked about, and the only way that they talked about it, was to do it through the stock market and the traditional investing in Wall Street and 401ks and retirement funds and things like that. So what I wanted to do was show you guys another option, something besides that. And we're going to talk about real estate in a minute. So the first thing that I want to do is talk about the assumptions that were in their video. To get $50,000 a year and live only off the interest at about 3% a year, so you would never touch that nest egg, you would need $1.67 million. And again, that would give you $50,000 a year and never have to touch the principal. They had a few different scenarios of starting at different ages. I believe it was 20, 30, and 40. We're going to do 40 for the sake of this video here. And what they suggested was that to get to the 1.67 million at a 6% return per year, you would have to save $2,405 a month, or $28,860 for the year. Now, over that 25 years, because they had the premise that you would retire at 65, you would have invested $721,500 to get to that total of 1.67 million. Not bad. You're more than doubling your money. You're waiting 25 years. And you're getting $50,000 a year living off the interest for the rest of your life, never touching that principal and able to pass it on to your heirs. So not too shabby, right? Let's take a look at the real estate example and see how that goes. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I got some notes here because there's a lot of math going on. Here are our assumptions. We're going to assume that it's $70,000 per door. And door means units, if you will. So if it's a duplex, it's 2 units. A quad would be 4 units. A single family would be 1 unit and 1 door. We're going to figure our numbers based on a modest 2% appreciation per year and a modest 2% loan pay down per year. We're also going to figure a conservative $2,000 cash flow per year. Now, the reason I say that's conservative is that's really only about $167 a month. And from what I've seen, you should be able to get that in a lot of markets. Not in the North, but definitely in the Midwest and the South, you should be able to get that easily. Cash flow, for those of you that don't know, is basically you take your rent income that you get and you subtract all of your expenses. So your taxes, your mortgage, your insurance, your property management, all of that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, there'll be some money left over, and that becomes your cash flow. So our example is going to assume $2,000 cash flow per year. The other thing we're going to assume is that we're not going to put that in our pocket, but we're basically going to reinvest the cash flow every single year in our example here. So what happens? Well, if we take this $28,860 a year, because we're going to do that either way, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to put that in rental real estate rather than putting it in the stock market or some other sort of financial investment through paper. We're going to put it into a hard asset, real estate. So if we do that, after 7 years, we are going to have 26 doors. So I'm going to write right here, 7 years. We're going to have 26 doors. We're going to have, let's see. We're going to have $2 million in property value. And we are going to cash flow $52,000 a year. So right off the bat, just 7 years in, we've already achieved our goal that it basically is going to take us 25 years to do over here. I mean, I could stop the video here because that's pretty simple. Here's the good news. You're not going to invest $721,000 over those 7 years. You're actually only going to have invested $202,000. So you can do the math. Almost $29,000 a year times 7 years. We're basically investing $202,000 over that time frame to get us the same, a little bit more, $52,000 that we would have gotten over here. But here we get it within 7 years, not 25 years. So, again, I could stop the video here, but you know what? You're smart. You didn't come to just see how you can get there in 7 years. You came to see how you can become wealthy. So we're going to go ahead and go all the way to 65. Let's assume that you're going to work. You're in it for the long haul. You want to take that 25 years and invest it and see what this can really become. So what does that look like? We're going to invest the full $721,500. And what that means is that we are going to after 25 years, we're going to have 510 doors. And that's assuming that we reinvested 2 times during that additional 18 years that you see in here. So it's 510 doors. We are also going to have $57 million in value. We are going to have $1 million in cash flow per year. And we did invest this full $721,500. Now, the good news, I mean, this all is good news when you look at it, but let's just summarize actually. So 25 years, same amount of time as this one. You could have 1.67 million in an account, you could take out 50,000 a year, and you could have invested a little over $700,000. Well, over here, same amount of time, same amount invested. We refinanced a couple times, but now we have 510 doors. That means we have 510 different people or families paying us every single month. $57 million in value. We have $1 million in cash flow. That's a lot different than this $50,000 in cash flow a year. And if you're worried about the nest egg, you're like, yeah, well, there's a nest egg over here that I haven't touched in principle. Well, don't worry, because you actually still have $18 million in equity. Meaning your rental properties are worth $18 million more than what you owe on them. So you have a nest egg there, about 10 times of a nest egg. You're getting $1 million cash flow a year instead of $50,000 a year. You still put in the same amount of money over the same amount of time, and you're managing $510,000 or 510 doors. So, oh, and I forgot to mention the really good part. At the end of the 25 years, you've actually got $1 million in cash from all the stuff you've done over the previous 24 years that you wouldn't invest that last year. So this last $1 million that you get in cash flow, you're not going to invest it that last year. So you made $1 million in cash minus the $721,000 that you invested over those 25 years. You actually got paid $278,000 to do this strategy instead of this strategy. With me so far? Now we're at 65. We've got a couple decisions to make. What do we want to do with all of these doors and all of this property? Well, you've got 3 options. Number 1, you could sell. That many doors you're probably going to sell to another investor, but let's just assume for the sake of argument you can sell. What happens? Well, you've got that $18 million in equity. So basically your nest egg becomes 18 million. And if you take the 3%, assume you can get that and you're living off the interest, that means your cash flow each year will be $570,000. And that is 11 times what you would have gotten over here. So you can see already, 25 years in, I can get rid of all my properties, wash my hands of it all, $18 million nest egg, live off the interest that I never have to touch, $570,000 in cash flow per year. It's 11 times that scenario within the other video that we talked about. Option number 2, you can actually keep these properties. So let's say you decide to keep them and you like the cash flow coming in. Well, if you keep them, you've got the 510 doors, you've got $57 million in value, you've still got your 18 million in equity that's sitting there. You're getting your 1 million in cash flow. So you might say, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to get my 1 million in cash flow per year. And I'm going to sit back and I'm going to watch my tenants pay down my mortgage. I'm going to watch rental rates increase. I'm going to watch appreciation go up year after year after year. And eventually, they're going to pay those off. You may not be alive for it, but eventually they're going to get paid off. And your heirs are going to have property that has no mortgage on it, that people are still living in. The rental rates have gone way up. The property's value has gone way up. And because there's no mortgage, that means the cash flow will actually go way up as well. But worst case scenario, you're sitting on $1 million a year coming in, and you're still owning all those properties. The third and most interesting option to me, because you guys are all looking for that interesting option, is if you refinanced again. So, refinance that amount of properties. When you're 65, you will now have 800 doors or units. You'll have property worth $90 million. And you'll be bringing in 1.6 million cash flow per year. You'll still have, by the way, $18 million in equity. So, as you can see, there are a lot of options out there besides just putting your money in the stock market, watching it grow, letting someone else manage it. This is a rental real estate model that I've chosen to follow. And just so you know, if you think these numbers are overwhelming at the beginning, don't worry about it. I just wanted to quickly show you, but if you go through this step by step, you only have to start with 2 properties the first year. And you're not looking for a huge amount of money to start. We only started with the $28,860 per year that you were going to invest over here, or the $24.05 a month. So if you save for 1 year, you get that $28,800, you'll be able to start with 2 properties and then watch the magic happen. The 2% appreciation, the 2% pay down, $2,000 cash flow, and reinvest in all that cash flow back in. So I know that was a lot. I hope you found this interesting. If you have any questions, reach out to us. You can find us at Kohota.com or any of the social media platforms. And feel free to subscribe to this channel because we're going to put a lot more really great videos like this up for you to watch. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.